The views expressed are solely those of the speaker and not necessarily those of Paltalk.com, AVM Software, or its advertisers.
Talk is online. News Talk Online is a production of Paltalk.com, the largest multimedia interactive program on the internet with more than 4 million unique users, on demand on iTunes, on demand on YouTube, and also on my blog, GaryBaumgarten.com, where you can post your comments, whether you agree with yours truly or not. And thanks to our good friends at CRN Digital Talk Radio, we're syndicated to an additional 12 million households. I am your host, Gary Baumgarten. I welcome you to the show. Today, once again, the discussion is on the economy, and for good reason, because the Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke today testified before the House Banking Committee, testimony that we carried live right here on News Talk Online on Paltalk.com. We're going to have more and more live events, news events such as that, for you to participate in and make comments on in text during the events and on microphone after the events right here on News Talk Online on Paltalk.com. For those of you listening on the internet, just go to www.paltalk, that's Paltalk.com, and download the program. It's a free download, and then head over to the radio and TV section and join us in News Talk Online on Paltalk.com. Bernanke pretty much reflected what we were reporting that a macroeconomist said yesterday, and that is that the recession could come to an end by the end of this year. It will continue for the first 6 months of the year through the second quarter, and then there will be a rebound in the economy, Bernanke says. Although we will see additional erosion of jobs, and we may not see a recovery of jobs in the third and fourth quarter, by 2010, there will be a recovery that will be evident. And he says, however, that that's if the president's economic stimulus plan works. Well, interestingly, the president will be laying out his plan for the economy in a speech before a joint session of Congress at 9 o'clock New York time tonight, a speech that you will be able to watch and hear live right here on News Talk Online on Paltalk.com. The president is expected to speak for 45 minutes. He has, of course, been outlining his economic recovery plan incessantly for the past month or so, but he's going to give Congress full details of the plan tonight, and by extension, the rest of us. And the rest of us is not just those of us here in the United States, but the entire global audience, because obviously everybody else around the world is watching what's going on here in the United States, because this is where it all began. And if you want to fix it, the global recession, you have to start here in the United States. But not only will he provide additional details of his economic recovery plan, but he's expected to call for even more government intervention on the economy. Now, there are two schools of thought. One school of thought says the economic stimulus plan is a good first step. It doesn't go far enough. We have to pump more money into the economy in order to seed things, in order to get a harvest. And we will reap the benefits of it. That's what Obama believes and those who support him. And there are a lot of economists who agree with him. Then there's the other side of the coin that says, no, 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 we need to tighten our belts, let this thing go through the cycle on its own inertia, and we will eventually come out of the recession. And by the way, if we don't do this, our children and our grandchildren will be paying for it long after we're gone. Well, Bernanke was well received on Wall Street. Of course, it was Bernanke, not Obama. And they could say essentially the same thing, Bernanke at 10 o'clock this morning and Obama at 9 o'clock New York time tonight, and the market could react differently because of who the messenger is. But Bernanke's speech resulted in an upswing in the Dow. It went up 236 points. That's a 3.3% increase. Not a lot, but you know what? Given the 300-point decline yesterday and the general decline in the Dow over the past several months, that's encouraging. The S&P was up 29.81%. That's 29.81 points. That's representative of a 4% increase. And the NASDAQ was up 54.11. That's also a 3.9% increase. So the markets reacted well to what Bernanke had to say today. We'll see how well they react to what Obama has to say. But in the long term, are these economic policies really going to help us? Bernanke said today that the Fed has been making it easier through additional loan centers for people to get loans. I'd like to hear from you in the audience. Have you attempted to get a loan recently? Or do you know anybody else who has attempted to get a loan? I'd like to hear from one person who was approved for a loan or a refinancing of their mortgage. I know of no one. He also said that they are in the process of making it easier to avoid foreclosure. He referred to them as unnecessary foreclosures. So that sets up our discussion. Let's first go to Boaz Frankel in California, who was with me as Bernanke addressed the Senate Banking Committee today. Were you impressed with what he had to say, and are you hopeful, Boaz Frankel, that the president's address to the Congress will be well received and result in a recovery, a beginning of a recovery here in the United States, and perhaps by extension to the world economy?
Thank you, Gary. Well, I'll tell you, I'm an average American, Gary, and I'm no brain surgeon when it comes to finances. I mean, I do my own finances. Sure, I can balance my checkbook and things like that. But what I make out of all of this is there's an upside and a downside. The upside is I'm glad to see that the committee has used a policy of scrutiny towards the additional spending of tax dollars into the economy. And I'm glad to see that they are asking hard questions that Bernanke has to answer. That's the upside of it, and I'm glad to see that it's not going to be a free for all. Whoever wants money gets it. It's not going to be that easy. The downside, I think, is that there is this whole process may be creating a somewhat of a false sense of security. Yes, things are moving forward. We're trying to correct the situation, and that's good. But people shouldn't jump ahead too quickly and hope for things that